right. So this webinar is going to last for 1 hour, and I would request if there is any questions, you guys can put it in the chat or Q&A as the session is going on. Can Safi, you confirm I'm audible, screen is visible, and you can see me clearly?
Yes, you're audible. Screen is visible as well.
Great.
I think we're good to go.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so this webinar is all about taking new technologies into action and empowering yourself as a leader with the AI project management aspects and tools. And we're going to focus and show you during the demonstration, during the webinar, how these tools can be smart enough to assist you as a project manager and make you one level up than other project managers within the same discipline. So that's the whole idea. I would appreciate if you guys have any questions. Yes, you can post it, as I said, during the session in the Q&A. Just before, so this is basically the topics I will be covering. Before we get started, I'll just introduce myself, my company. We'll look into how we can leverage AI for efficient project management. We will look into how executive dashboards with smart tools can be generated. We'll also look into some agile aspects because agile is the thing around technology, and most of the projects which gets implemented are based on agile methodologies in our technology vertical. So we look into how agile can help, or agile with the new technologies can work more efficiently and effectively. And then we will see how, during as the project is moving on, as things are happening, how can we actually review progress with some burn down charts, which is again an agile methodology to review performance of the team. And then later on, any questions and answers, we'll try to take that. And finally, I would appreciate any feedback. Plus, we will also provide you the PDUs as committed for you to get some points or some credits with PMI as you have attended this webinar. So that's the idea. You can also claim CPDs if you're ITIL certified to have your recertification in XLS even. So both ways it works. That's the idea. So myself, I have like a lot of experience, 25 years of professional management experience, and I have done a lot of certifications. A lot of people already know me here, and been into the discipline for a long time, handled some mega projects. So with all these experiences and different kind of understanding of best practices, I decided back like 2019 to start a company where I can use my experience, my knowledge to somehow uh, elevate this whole profession of project management, make it simple, make it more smarter. That was the idea. So the mission was in 2019 to get started with training and courses will actually assist students to go to the next level in their careers. Plus, we wanted to be a one-stop shop, and that's where now we are taking kind of a, you could say, a diversification in our offering. With the training, we have started, or we've been pushing a vertical of consultancy and products, which is where QPunch has got matured in the last 3 years. And this is where we are somehow embedding this part of our offering in the training in our consultancy so that, whatever we do it in a smarter manner. That's the whole idea. So that's where the product comes in. We just not only cater our product, we offer solutions. So if there is requirement of project management, with that, there is a requirement of a service desk solution or a document management solution. We have a full stack of offering. And these offerings are based on the best globally. So we are a partner of Atlassian, and we actually take those solutions, and our solution is integrated to that solutions. So if we go to an enterprise who's looking for end-to-end kind of a smart IT whole enterprise, so they can actually work with us. We will offer project management solution, we'll offer service desk solution, we'll have a document management solution. So every requirement will be catered through our consultancy. And we have a development team also back in India. So if there are enhancements required, anything required around those tools, we have the capability for that also. Plus, a lot of people are already aware. We offer a lot of training courses. And for this also, we have a lot of affiliations with the kind of best partners. like PMI, PeopleCert, XLS globally. And that's where we have that expertise to get these trainings into the region. So it's like a combination of three offerings, you could say: a product offering, services offering, and the training offering. Now, during the trainings, I usually ask a lot of students, and this is something which is going on as a trend nowadays. Will AI be able to replace the whole discipline of project management? And smartly, a lot of students give the right answer. And that's where I am going to take this webinar in this direction today. So if you see project management as a discipline, it's a combination of arts and science. So it's not something which is like one plus one, two. It has a lot of lateral thinking required. When you are on the ground, you are tackling projects. A lot of decisions on the fly needs to be made. A lot of things you have to think differently at every situation because every project is unique. Uh, Even though the PMs have been in the projects and the discipline has matured for so many years, but till today we have a lot of, I would say, poor performance, a lot of uh, expense or cost is getting wasted still. So as per one of the research, basically 99 million of every $1 billion invested in projects goes for a waste because the project goes for failure. So the idea is like, how can we leverage the power of this technology, being artificial intelligence in our discipline and make a huge difference where we can transform things and get it better. So what AI can offer to us? How can we be more smarter with AI tools, with whatever we have as our knowledge, as our understanding, as the best practices with these tools as a combination? Can we make a difference? So that's the whole idea. So that's where if you take the get into the bandwagon quite early and understand AI transformation with the smart tools, you will be able to make a huge difference and can cause a necessary disruption in the industry. So that's the whole idea. And I'm going to show you a few glimpses like what is possible and what we have already achieved, part of our application itself. So this is where I will try to show the journey of AI within QPunch and what all is possible in future and how things can evolve as we are going along in this whole discipline. That's the whole idea. So to begin with, I mean, the technology as we speak is evolving very, very fast. Artificial intelligence. Every day we are seeing there is a kind of a new release by different providers of AI tools, and it is getting smarter and smarter day by day. But like I said, still the edge of taking lateral decisions, thinking out of the box, doing analytics, taking calls around critical issues um, based on a lot of aspects of soft skills. Let's say people management. Still, the PM has to be part of it, but he can use AI at this stage as a assistant. And AI can actually be a project manager's support staff. It can actually replace all the administration tasks, let's say related to user story creations, which is a kind of a complicated, or you could say it's a overwhelming task when you have many agile, let's say, different requirements, and each requirement you need to think of a user story. It can be overwhelming. So how AI can actually assist quickly getting those user stories out, an elaborated user story in the right format? How can it actually help us update status without going into, or you just using with the AI tool, how can we go ahead and update our whatever's different tools we are using, let's say for project management, how can I tell AI to assist me to do the updates for me? Because a lot of companies, enterprises implement project management solutions, but they struggle for people to get into the application and provide real-time updates. And that's why the reports are not effective and the tools do not go as per the vision of the company. So what we thought is like, okay, if you are already used to, let's say, Copilot or Gemini, you are using this in your day-to-day work. And without going from outside that interface or being in Teams or WhatsApp, whatever you're using for communication, how can we make this like more easier to update whatever information in the project management tools? And the reports are generated easily so that the management has an overview of what is happening. And then we will also look into Like via AI, can we go ahead and create roadmaps and schedules? Can we do risk assessment? So we have a project and we need to have AI as our assistant to understand what are the risks behind these projects. Can AI do that? And can it do the report analysis? Yes, all this is possible. And I'm going to show a little bit glimpse right now how it is possible. So this is where I will just go to QPunch now and use one of the project as a sample project. So this is where the QPunch interface is. This is a demo kind of an interface I have taken. This is called as a Kanban board. And this is where all my activities, you can see some are not assigned, some are already assigned, some are in progress, some are resolved, and some are closed. Now, suppose if I take an activity which is in progress and I have to go ahead and start working on this activity. But before I work on the activity, I want to elaborate what is the requirement related to the database design. You can see that there is a very short kind of a description written, but I want to transform that description using the capability of AI into a user story. So it's very simple. I just click on this icon. The AI generation starts. Basically, it looks into the title of this particular punch, it looks into the description, it looks into the project documentation, and it comes back suggesting a user story to us. Now, if the user story is making sense, we say approve, and the user story has been taken into the description. So this way, what happens? Like I actually want to design a database. I am, let's say, the system user or administrator, and this is how basically a user story should be generated, where it shows the persona, what he wants to do, and why he wants to do. Plus, a lot of people struggle in thinking the acceptance criteria also. What is the benefit of this particular user story? What are the different dependencies? What are the assumptions? So you can see that you get a very, like in a very easy manner, you get like a starting point. Now, using this starting point, obviously you can tweak, you can do little bit changes here and there, but you have something to start with. This is where also people struggle in. So this is the capability of AI, which is already in our tool. And this is actually helping a lot of people to actually generate stories and get their work quickly, efficiently done. So that's one of the capabilities. Now, the other capability, what we are coming part of the roadmap is like you have a schedule around this whole project. Yeah. Now, a lot of people also want to, somehow work out what is the best practice of creating a schedule in terms of a work breakdown structure. So before I go and I put all the timelines and I figure out the dependencies and links, I need to actually work out what is the best structure I come up with as a WBS work breakdown structure of the schedule. Now we are coming part of our roadmap, part of the tool, that there will be an AI again option here, which will auto generate based on the project documentation. So if you have a project document, let's say you've put kind of a scope document, it will go and analyze the scope and it will come back and suggest a structure of the project as a WBS. So which will make again your life very easy. So then what you have to do, you have to just verify that the structure makes sense. You can just go ahead, link or break the links or whatever is applicable as an approach for your project. You can go about doing this. So this is something which we are working on. Then a lot of people actually also struggle, which is again part of the good practice or best practice, like identifying the right risk and actually stating out the right risk in the proper way it should be written so that people can understand where is the risk coming from, what is it going to affect, and what will be the overall consequence of that particular risk. So this is also we are coming up, like when you add a risk, it will have an AI engine. It will be able to go analyze based on where you are on the schedule, based on whatever you have reported. It will analyze all the project documentation and it will come back and suggest that these should be the risk right now in your project. So accordingly, you have that, somehow assistance, you have a, somehow you could say support from the AI looking into your details, looking into your data and coming up with suggestions that this is how you can do your project better. So that's how the technology can be leveraged. Ultimately, what's our vision is basically if you go here and I want to create a new project itself. In these details, I would actually put the description, the name of the project, little bit details, and I would actually let AI generate the whole structure of the project in terms of the schedule, the typical risk part of this project, the typical activities which needs to get completed in this project, the dependencies, typical documentation which you need to have, it also will populate the templates part of the whole project creation. So that's our vision, So you'll just put a prompt that I want to go ahead and actually go ahead and implement, let's say, a CRM system. And for this CRM system, I want to run the implementation as a project. Just an example of a prompt. I'll give that prompt part of my description. I will just click the generation of this whole thing. It will go and actually auto create everything as a structure for you to get started. So you don't need to go ahead, you don't need to go and create the schedule manually. You don't need to think about the activities. What you need to do after this will be very simple. Just go and assign the activities and start the execution. So in a way, it will assist all part of the planning, whatever is required in terms of typical documentation. Like here we have, let's say, the library of documentation. In this library of documentation, based on the project type, the AI will suggest what kind of a project plan document you should have, what kind of a status report based on the project type you will be suggested, what kind of minutes or minute template it will suggest, what kind of, let's say, sign off document you should be using. Risk and issues is already part of the application already. So these kind of things, it will auto generate as a structure, which will make your complete, project management more efficient, and you will have a standardized way of working with your whoever within your organization, and also based on, again, the understanding of the project, it will suggest certain reporting structures also. So that way it will become very easy. So that is the whole idea, where we are taking the AI at the next level, part of our tool. So already you have seen that the engine is now integrated with the AI, and now we are working to take it, like I said, towards the roadmap generation, risk assessment, report analysis. It will analyze the weekly report, the executive reports, and suggest like what should be the next step in terms of, it will somehow facilitate decision making also for the executive. That's the whole idea. So I'll show you certain aspects like how we would be going and doing this also in the future. So this is something which I've already demonstrated. Now, another aspect, like I said, the task update. So the task update, how we are trying to do is like, here is an example. Now, suppose I have an activity which is to be, moved from one position to another position. So as an example, here I'll go to this project, and I have an activity, let's say, which is assigned to myself. And rather than going in the system, so normally what happens when the activity is assigned to me, I get a notification. So it's assigned. So what I do is I take it into progress. All the stakeholders come to know that this is progressing. And finally, I take it to completion. Now, a lot of companies and enterprises actually have different systems they use, and they do not want to log into an additional system to move this also, so move the activity, though it is very simple, but still they want some one kind of an interface. So let's say they have already kind of a service desk management solution, or they are using Copilot, or they're using Microsoft Teams, or they're using WhatsApp or Slack, for their communication. Now, if I, let's say, introduce another project management system, example QPunch, now they will have to log in and move this activity or do any changes here, which will be an additional effort for them to log in to move the task. Now, how do we facilitate this? What are we thinking? How are we making this smart? I will just show you. So this, let's say, take this activity as an example. Now, this activity, the punch ID is this, which is a unique ID in our system. So every particular task has a punch ID, which is unique to that particular task. That's the idea here, first of all. So it maintains that uniqueness. Now, if I go to here as an example, now this is the bot I have integrated. And now if I say hi, it just replies me back, how can I help you? And this can be, so this is an example of WhatsApp. So you can have this interface part of Copilot, part of your prompt Gemini. You can have it anywhere in Microsoft Teams also. So from anywhere it can do it. It's just like the basic integrations we need to do, but we have the engine ready. That's the whole idea. So it gives me a reply. Then I say, okay, can you actually help me move that particular task? The punch ID I have already. I have to just take it, extract it again because I copied something else. So let me go back to. So this is. So let's take this, but yeah, this was the task. So I'll just open and I'll just copy the punch ID again. This punch ID. And I go back here and paste the punch ID. So I'm telling him to move this particular task. It will ask me then where would you like to move it? So is it actually to the lane 1, lane 3? So there are 5 lanes as you had seen in that Kanban board. So I'll say let's move it to number 4. So then immediately it does it action at the back and it will come back. Yeah, so it has changed to, let's see the effect now. This was the punch, which was here, number 2. If I refresh now. So without getting into the system, the smartness is basically that from another kind of a, in this case, the WhatsApp, I have pushed the task to the progress. And same way I can push it to QC verification or closed. So this is the way basically, again, it helps us, somehow be integrated. If you have a landscape of many systems and you have an additional system, how can you make all this system work more efficiently? So this is where it can help, uh, somehow uh, make yourself completely integrated and connected and using the latest technology. That's the whole idea. So this is where you can see the task update had happened. Now, so having said that was the capability of AI, but in general, generally, if you say in terms of big enterprises, the project management typical issues and how actually smart systems can resolve these typical issues we will look into. So in typical issues in organization will be communication breakdown, process ambiguity, and fragmented data. So smart systems which are AI enabled, how can actually they resolve, or how can they facilitate, or how can they actually make the communication more effective between the teams? How can they make the processes rather than complex more simpler? Because if the tool derives the process, people are somehow engaged and they just follow what is in the tool and automatically the process gets applied. And the fragmented data. So if it's decentralized, how can everything be centralized? And with the tool, which is a smart tool, which has AI capability, how can we have all the information centralized? We will look into that also now as we speak. So these kind of dashboards, if we create part of our systems as an example, which is also enabled part of our own system, which is Smart Project Management QPunch, you can have the crucial information in one glance. So this is kind of a proof of concept we have done for one of the customers. His pain area mainly was that there are many, many projects running globally. And he wanted to actually ensure that when these projects are running, we have a kind of an amount which is assigned to be spent as an administrative amount. And at any particular time, he should have a portfolio view that this particular amount is in control. It is not going over the budget, in terms of the admin expenditure. And overall, the project status are somehow, at a level where it is controlled. And the complete budget of the project is also in control. So these few things as a pain area they were facing with many different countries where the projects were running. So what did we do? I will just show you quickly at a glance. So what do we do with our smart system? Basically, we actually enabled this kind of a dashboard, which shows this is again dummy data. So which shows 13 projects are right now in progress, 10 are in delay. This is the amount which was total amount transferred on the ground, and you can see the amount spent is more than, so this is a sign of basically concern. So he needs to look into why we have gone over in terms of our admin expenditure. So it gives a clear indication. It accumulates the data from many, many different projects, and at a portfolio view, it is showing that this is the amount assigned and this is what is spent right now. So what it means is that administration expenditure wise, I am, in a way away from my whatever I had planned, and in actual I'm away a little bit, and overall planned expenditure was this for the whole portfolio, and this is all right now spent. So we have 49%, in terms of the overall right now at this stage. The major issues are three, and now this is like a portfolio view. So where all the projects are running in different countries, like I said. So if I want to know what is happening in Iraq, I hover my cursor over here, and immediately I come to know that 4 projects are running. This much was the amount. This is the total spent. What is happening in Qatar? What is happening in Yemen? And then it gives me a kind of a comparison, like which projects are in delay, which has major issues, which I need to be concerned about. So it gives a comparison between the countries, as you can see here. So which makes, like in a quick glance, a full kind of a, I could say, snapshot of my portfolio, my projects, my programs, and an understanding of my pain area where, where I have to focus and I need to actually focus that the administration expenditure is in control, but which I don't see right now. So I would like to drill down and understand why is it getting more spent. So here, if I go in Qatar as an example, then I go to the next view, uh, which is in a way, just let me log in this again. So this is something unexpected has happened. So let me just run the up. Yeah. So yeah, so once you log into in the system, basically it will actually take us to the project view where you can realize like what are the different projects running. So in this case, there is irrigation channel within, like I clicked on Qatar and I went from Qatar to these different projects. I can see irrigation channel is getting built, school building is happening, well drilling is happening, food meals are happening. And when I want to know a particular status, let's say within the irrigation channel, so it goes next level now at the task level, or the activity level. So as an executive, first I had that portfolio view, then I had overall projects which are going on, what are the status of the project. And now I'm looking into a particular activity where the team has gone. And why is the spend more? So they are doing multiple activities. They're doing refugee camp visits. They're doing a lot of surveys around this. And as you can see now, they went for a survey and they have attached the video. So basically, you can see that through this video, there would be some kind of a justification in a way that why is the spend happening, where is the spend happening, and that way the executives can be informed. If they want to drill down into data, if they want to understand further, they can understand further. If they want to leave it at that state and have a communication with the other managers and to deal with, they can do that way also. So this basically kind of give them kind of an overview of what is happening. And as they want, they can drill down and understand from the management portfolio view to the program to the project view. That's the whole idea. This is another dashboard as a kind of a proof of concept which we have done and we are implementing for some customers right now live even. So this also gives again kind of a similar view, but the format of this particular dashboard is different because it caters to the strategy back. Because as an organization, I will have multiple strategy. I'll have my corporate strategy, financial strategy, marketing strategy. So here I can actually, I'll just show you this live. So here I can have basically kind of a drop down and I can have multiple strategies and I can, when I click on that in terms of that strategy over the year, where are we right now? So it gives a strategy kind of a percentage progress. And this strategy is creating to what all outcomes. So what all outcomes or programs it is catering to and what are the different benefits I'm trying to achieve from these outcomes. It shows this also. So as an example here, suppose if I want to see, so these are the three different outcomes I'm catering to. Now, within the strategic projects, I want to see further drill down and I want to know like what is happening in different strategic projects which I'm trying to complete. So here you can see that one is, it gives you the status, one is at 70% and one is at 39%. So it gives you the progress of the project directly. It gives you some highlights and these highlights are customizable as you need to see related to every project. So in this view, basically you have a drill down, plus you have the progress percentage, plus you have more information as an executive or as a line manager or as a program manager, portfolio manager, you would like to see. And all this information is, when we sit down with the enterprise, we understand what they want to actually monitor, where is their performance lacking and what is something. So when you monitor a particular area, you will be able to improve. But if there is no monitoring, if there is no transparency, the improvement will not happen. This is where we try to expose that out in a very, very simple manner and give it to the executives, give it to the line managers so they are able to understand. And obviously they can drill down further and look into the next level, which is the project level status report. So I want to go and look into the CRM project. So CRM right now at that particular period was 39%. This was the due and this is the new date. So it's got delayed. What are the different reasons? It is actually exposing the risk out, is exposing the issues out. and any lessons the team has seen after this on this project, So that's the whole idea. In a very simple manner, it drills down and it takes all the information automatically. This report is also auto generated, and the other dashboards are all real time. And where does it take the data from? It takes from this plan view, where you have constructed the plan, which I showed that we are coming with a capability where AI will assist you to create this plan, and then the execution happens here. So the team will, what they will do is they will just keep executing the task. All dashboards, reports will keep auto generating, and you can have a clear, kind of a smart, efficient way of looking into your project performances. And even this execution can happen via different tools, like I showed, through integration. So that's the whole idea. So this is where these dashboards can really help the companies and the organization to become more and more efficient and effective. Now, the last part of the webinar is about the Agile framework, the Scrum framework, which I will quickly cover. So the idea here is basically, I showed you that Agile helps basically create a user story. So what happens as kind of a progress in an Agile project in terms of the methodology or best practice framework? What happens? So basically, when we are planning, at that particular time, we are creating the user story. So like I showed in the previous part of the webinar, that you can generate the user stories efficiently, part of your planning ceremony or planning meetings. Now, once you are in implementation, in execution, you will be running daily Scrum meetings or daily stand-up meetings, we call it. And then you will have certain impediments which you will be discussing with the team. And based on these impediments, are we on track or are we not on track? So how can a tool assist me to do this whole best practice in a very, very easy manner? This is something I will show you right now. So when I'm planning my basically, let's say sprints, basically I use this particular view, and in this view, just let me take this to the demo. In this particular view, so I have like these two sprints as an example. Yeah. Now this shows that this is the total number of efforts as planned, and this is an actual that the team is trying to deliver. There are total 4 stories to be delivered in sprint 1, sprint 2. Both are running. You can see the dates. Both are running and both are in progress at the same time. So this is the way you go ahead, and when you are planning, what you need to do is basically you need to actually go to those particular projects. Let's say CRM, I was giving an example, and you just select a particular punch or task, you could call it in normal language, and it actually goes into the sprint 1. So this is the way you will plan the sprint for a time box of a 1 month or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever your target is. You will get all the activities related to that time box or to that sprint, because sprint will have a goal. So it will have a goal. Let's have a release of, let's say, version 1 in this particular duration. And we will have all the different activities, tasks related to that release part of the sprint figured out as a plan. And once the plan is set, we will look into the data in terms of information. Are the stories good enough? Have all the information related to the documentation, let's say the priority, all this information in terms of the plan of the efforts, everything has been set well. And once it is set well, basically it goes into execution. And when it goes into execution, same way with the board, like I said, the board view, the team will execute and keep taking those activities into work in progress, into QA, into close. And automatically, as they're taking this, the progress of the sprint will keep going on. So it will keep moving towards its target. Now, what happens as we do these, the agile projects, we need kind of a quick view of a burn down chart, we call it, to compare what did we plan and where are we in actual right now. So here this shows basically that we had planned part of the pink line, that was our ideal kind of a burn, which was the planned burn. But in actual, we are little above the line, so we are little behind. So this way you are be able to monitor that are you on plan or you are not in plan. So this I will just quickly show in a practical sense of the 3 sprints which I am running for my own development efforts. So this is right now, like we are running, let's say the sprint application release 18, 19 and 24 QPunch itself. And QPunch, actually we are managing as an agile project, and we are running these two sprints in parallel right now. So if I want to know, like with my team, like are we doing well in this sprint? So I will just go here. I will click on the burn down chart, and you can see that we are actually supposed to, till today, we are supposed to deliver 18.6 as per plan, but we are only remaining with 14 story points in actual. So this shows a good status. So if the line of the actual is below the plan, that means it's a good status. But if the line is above, in this case, which was the sprint 17, we were quite above. So we were very far from what our plan was, and we could not complete the sprint on the targeted date. So this shows that there was some kind of issues, or there was some kind of impediments due to which we could not complete. So there will be a lot of lessons to discuss about and get ourselves to improvement. So in the next sprint, we did an improvement. We were able to hit the target. And now in the current sprint, we have gone faster. So this is the way we encourage the team. And this is not like focused on per person, per assignee. No, it is the whole team effort. And the team is monitored on let's say daily, weekly basis, as it shows here, part of the framework, that we do the implementation, we do a daily Scrum meeting, we review the impediment log, we review the burn down chart, and we push the team all together to finish what we have targeted the sprint as a release on a particular date. And finally, when the whole implementation is done, we do a review cycle of all what was delivered as user stories into the real product. And finally, we also sit down and do a retrospective in terms of lessons. Like when we did this whole sprint, what did we learn from it? And those lessons are also applied back again into the whole next cycle of the iteration or next cycle of the sprint. So this whole agile function or agile framework embedding has been done into our tool. We have achieved this successfully, and that's why our tool is quite unique now. It only not caters to the classical traditional way. It has a functionality of putting kind of a Gantt chart, the status report, dashboards, plus it gives you this agile capability also. So it's like a hybrid tool which is quite unique right now, and it's also a smart tool which has the AI capability. So both ways it is catering. So that's the whole idea. This is where it makes a huge difference. So as you can see, the iteration boards and the sprint boards, which we talk about. So finally, what happens with this collaboration, with these tools in place, the team can really achieve success, and the whole projects will be in line, hopefully, and things will start hitting the target. And even if they are not hitting the target, you have the real data to analyze, to understand where your performance is lacking, and accordingly, you can take some decisions based on real data. So rather than just hunting where is the problem, what is going wrong, when you have all this organized, you come to the real root cause and you actually deal with the root cause. So that's where it really makes a huge difference. So that's what I wanted to say. And we are at a stage right now that like AI has become our assistant, and quite an effective assistant. And we have embedded this part of our tool. We have reached to a level, I could say, that we can replace a lot of admin tasks for the PM via AI. So we have achieved already, not only just with our application, many other applications in the market can also achieve this. But we have taken this quite carefully, and we have thought of many use cases, and the most important use cases which are required, we are actually trying to take it into the tool as soon as possible. That's the whole idea. So it makes the job of the PM quite easy. We've reached to this stage. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Maybe it becomes more and more smarter and it will start replacing the PM himself. We don't know. So to a level, to maybe simple projects where decision making is not that complicated, the criticality is not that there, it might be able to, because I've seen some videos where AI actually conducting a meeting as a scrum master even. So that is already happening. So it's evolving very, very fast. So you have to catch up the pace. You have to understand, you have to start researching and getting into these kind of smart tools, so that you are also part of the whole journey and you are taking advantage of it. So that's the whole idea. But as I spoke about, I mean, there has to be kind of a proven instance. Like, is this something really going to make a difference. It made a difference to one of the client which we had implemented. QPunch is a smart tool. It actually gave them real-time update of project issues, and it increased their cost efficiency, or I would say overall cost efficiency was somehow increased to 20%. Progress tracking was there, live updates were happening, due to which they were able to work 3x faster, and the data was completely reliable, accurate to take and the communication to more effectiveness. So that was the whole idea with QPunch. This is a site which we had implemented. It ran there for 1 year, and the project is now about to get over. It was a kind of a creation of a hangar as a construction project where we had implemented our tool successfully, and it gave these results. So this is where I would actually pause now and open the floor for any questions if anyone has, so that I can take that and answer them before we go to the last part of feedback and sharing the PDO for the webinar attendance. So let me know if anyone has any questions. I can just switch to chat, or if anyone has asked during the session also, any kind of. Okay, so the floor is open. You guys can go ahead. I hope you can actually type in the chat or in QA. If you're not able to, I would guess that you are able to chat, because I see one participant talking about not able to see the screen, Aisha. So I'm sure you're able to put a message in chat. Sophia, are you able to hear me? It's all clear. Okay, Sheikh Ryan says he has raised a question in Q&A. So just check. All right. Okay. So good question, Ryan. Thank you for that. How helpful is AI tools that were presented within the predictive and hybrid development approaches? And is it feasible to tailor these features for such approaches? Yes, it is possible. So again, when we go into enterprises, that is the whole idea and the advantage of QPunch here in the region and in the country. We work very closely, and since we come from a background of consultancy, we understand the enterprise pain areas, and we customize and we tailor the tools to fit rightly into every enterprise. And we have the whole leverage of the whole framework as QPunch is built by us. So we can do the customization, we can do the tailoring within the tool to fit the enterprise exactly and use it more and more effectively. So these were just some quick use cases, which is like been, I would say, discussed by many enterprises with us, and we came up with this, whatever I showed you. But if there is something else which they want to do, or maybe they just want to use their own data, it has to be like a kind of a, let's say, data mining within the organization to pick up the information from the organization, and it has to be just within the, let's say, the boundaries of the organization. It does not go out, the data is not shared, and they want to implement on premise with the smartness within the tool using the data of the enterprise, keeping all the confidentiality. That is also possible. We can do that also. So it is possible. Yeah. Thank you for the question. I hope that answers your question. Welcome. So, Safi, is there any other questions from anyone else?
Yeah. Looking for the chat. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask here. I actually have questions here that how QPunch AI feature is ensuring the data security for the projects.
All right. So basically, all the data, whatever we store within QPunch is fully encrypted, you know. So basically, we don't need to worry about the security. We have gone for certain audits when we implemented with our customers. So nobody sees the data other than the enterprise themselves. There are permissions within the tool, which also somehow segregates for the people who want to see the information within the organization also. So let's say if I am an executive and I need to see certain critical financial data, but another kind of a guy who's an admin does not need to see the financial data. So we can define those roles, we can set those permissions. So only particular roles and particular, let's say, personnel will be able to view the information. And all the data is encrypted fully. So it's completely maintains that encryption. Yeah, so the roadmap URL is so the question here is what new features can we expect to see in QPunch over the next 12 months? So we are trying to have, let's say, a kind of an Arabic version. We are trying to get more agile framework, let's say, performance tracking, some kind of dashboards further in agile. And we are also looking into, yeah, as I showed you, taking this towards more and more towards AI as a smart tool. So these are some things which are part of the roadmap. And again, based on the enterprise which we get engaged with, we just not take the requirement on the perspective of that enterprise itself. We look into the product perspective also. So if the customer has come back and he says that this is something which I would like to see in the tool, if it makes sense for other customers also, we take it part of the roadmap. So that's how the prioritization in our backlog keeps happening based on the customer requirements even. Great. So anybody else? Any other questions, Safi?
Yeah, so there's no other questions from the other participants. So,
All
how
right.
how does it support the agile methodology, and how we can implement that in the QPunch in terms of
So yeah,
yes,
so yeah, no problem. So basically, agile, when we say agile is kind of a broad mindset or it's a methodology, but you need a framework around agile. And to use that effectively as a framework, you need a tool, you know. So the most popular framework, as you can research and understand, is the Scrum framework. You know, the Scrum is the most popular. So 75% of the agile projects are using Scrum framework. And what QPunch has done is taken that Scrum capability into QPunch. So as a framework, if you're using Scrum, you can use QPunch to actually apply Scrum into your enterprise. That's the whole idea. And plus, what we have is like, as you are going ahead and applying that framework, if certain terminologies, like I showed, the time boxing as a term being sprints. Now, in classical projects, they don't use the term sprints. And if it's a hybrid project also, they don't use the term sprint. So we might have like commissioning stages. So we normally, when we are going for, let's say, a kind of construction or a petrochemical project, we have commissioning stages, level one commissioning, level two commissioning. But all those are also time boxed, you know. So there is a commissioning happening within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So if I want to take a phase and I want to actually manage that phase in a hybrid project, also part of my, let's say, iterative delivery, and I want to name those sprints as, let's say, commissioning stages or stage one, stage two. All that capability is configurable in the tool. So the tool allows you to configure, based on what you are following as a process, as your structure within the organization. But in general, it has the capability to take Scrum end to end and get it implemented part of Agile offering. So that's how it is. So if there are no more questions, I would request that you guys can scan this. Yeah, go ahead, Safi. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So actually, we have received one more question from Mr. Tosif. Uh, is the AI capability expands to the cost management and budget tracking in the system?
Yeah, it is part of the roadmap. It will analyze and it will actually try to recommend budget efficiencies also based on the understanding how the project is running. So this is where the risk and the issues will be raised based on the understanding of where we are in terms of the timeline, where we are in terms of our budgets. And accordingly, it will somehow suggest that these risks are there around you going out of the budget or you going out of the time, So those capabilities are also somehow in the roadmap and we are developing that. Any other things, Safi?
No, I think that's all from my side. Thank you.
All right, great. So let's have this code scanned and I just want to show where does your feedback go. So when you actually put a feedback related to this webinar, we will be having this part of our website. So let's take an example here. Your name will be appearing in our website. It is directly integrated to Google, and whatever you put with your name, you will be always be part of our website even. So if you put your picture in Google, you will have your picture, your name somehow published as you give the feedback. So you can scan it and give your feedbacks. You can, if you want to give it later, you can just take a picture of this. This will be shared as a PowerPoint also, as a PDF PowerPoint. So you can later on also give the feedback. So looking forward for feedbacks. And finally, the final part, whoever is looking for the PMI PDUs, you can use these two codes and claim some I think could actually claim some credits. So you need to actually generate 60 credits before your next certification. So these codes will help you. They are already approved, and we will also try to, if we get a request, in case if they are asking us, did you attend? We will acknowledge that. So use these codes. Go to your PMI profiles and put this code, and you can generate some credits around your PDUs. So overall, you need 60 till you have to recertify. So this will actually give you around, I think it will give you almost around 5 using the two codes. Okay. So that's it. Thank you very much. I hope this was useful and insightful. We will be sharing, like I said, the recording plus the PDF file. So if anyone has any questions later also, you can come back to us. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.